Good evening. My name is Tim Throne, Throne. I'm the superintendent of Oxford Community Schools. I've worked for Oxford as an employee for over 21 years. Since November 30th, everyone in our Wildcat Nation has been sharing and participating in the grieving process. Students, parents, community members, staff members, board members, you name it. We have been shaken to our core that words cannot describe. We are committed to providing emotional support, counseling, not just today, but in the weeks and months ahead. I cannot begin to express our gratitude of the outpouring of love that we have seen from our close neighbors to the south, north, east, west, from various school districts within the state of Michigan, various counties. We've heard from people in other states and from around the world. Our main focus, besides sharing in this grieving process, has been on reopening of our schools. Many of us have talked with our counterparts in other districts where events similar to ours have occurred, and we have heard loud and clear that the sooner that we can get our students and staff back into school, the better. And so that has been our focus. I want you to know that we have been cooperating fully with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department as well as the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. We too want justice and accountability. In fact, one of our core values is accountability. I want you to know that we continue to answer any and all questions, and we have turned everything over to them. I also want you to know that you'll see in tonight's board meeting that it is my recommendation to our school board that we look at a third-party independent review. This too has been done in many of the districts where similar events have occurred. I will end with my opening comments with that I want to remind our students, our staff, our parents, our community, we will not be defined by this event. We will be Oxford strong in the days ahead.
Good evening. My name is Jill Lamond. I'm Assistant Superintendent of Student Services here in Oxford Schools. I've been a proud member of our staff for 11 years, and I'm also a mother of students in the district. I just wanted to speak to the families of the victims and let them know that we're grieving with you. These have been very difficult weeks, and we've been going through this together. I really want to highlight the outpouring of love and support we have gotten, not just locally, but nationwide, from other families who have experienced things like this, other communities, and just individuals who have taken the time to reach out to us and to share in our grief. Thank you. Our strong focus has been on safely and securely reopening these buildings. I'm passionate about safety and security. I want to let you know that my own children were back in school Friday, and I want to highlight how fantastic the reopening of school was. Our students need that normalcy, and we want desperately to provide it for them. To our families who are watching and listening, please know there are supports out there. We have grief counselors, we have trauma counselors, we have so many resources available to us right now that will be available for the foreseeable future. We want to connect you if you're in need. Please contact my department. With regards to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department and the Prosecutor's Office, I've personally been liaisoning with those folks and have nothing but positive things to say about them. We continue to work in concert with them, and we want justice as bad as anyone else following this terrible tragedy. To speak to Superintendent Throne's third-party review, I just want to highlight we will be going over that this evening. I'm hopeful that our school board approves this review and very much in support of it. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our school board president, Mr. Tom Donnelly.
My name is Tom Donnelly. On behalf of the school board that I am the president of and represent, I'm also a father of 7. Been in this community for over 20 years. Many of my kids have gone to the schools here. I'm soon to have 8 grandchildren. And the grieving process is hard. It's tough. We are fully committed to make sure that emotionally, physically, spiritually, being a pastor in the community, that's probably a big thing for me, is to make sure that as we do in a portrait of a graduate, the whole child matters, that we're going to provide the care that is necessary and the care that is needed. And I am begging any of you families out there, parents out there, that if you have not taken advantage of the counseling that's being offered, if you haven't gone to the Legacy Center and met up with counselors there and seen what's going on there, please, just, if you can't get on our website, just call us. Call the district office, call one of the school board members. We will get you connected to the right source so that you can get the attention and the help that you need. I think as Jill said, this is going to be a long haul. This is just the beginning. Reopening was seen to be, after we talked to other districts who have gone through the same thing, a necessary thing to get going and go quickly, get these kids back in and get them safe. And I want to tell you that our board members, each and every one of us on Friday, had the opportunity to be at one of the schools. And I got to be at Clear Lake. And I got to watch parents, somewhat reluctantly, it seemed, bend down and kiss their child and let them back into the school. But then watch that child leap into a teacher's arms or go grab a teacher's arm or another student's hand and walk into school, and looking inside the doorway and seeing like this tunnel of glitter as teachers and people and parents decorated the hallways so these kids would have kind of a fairy tale entrance into their school day. It was absolutely stunning. I'm proud of our community for what they're doing. Meeting each other's needs, caring for one another, lifting each other up. All of these are essential. And getting our kids back to school, that's obviously our job. That's what we do. And we're going to do it safely. We're going to do it right. We are, and I can't make this any more clear, we have been 100% transparent with the Oakland County Prosecutor and the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. We have continued to search file folders and file documents. If we find anything, they get all of it. They've gotten all of it. And we promise to continue in that vein, to be completely open with them as their investigation continues. And finally, yes, Mr. Throne is going to be bringing before the board a recommendation that we hope to turn it, after some conversation, into a resolution, that there would be, in the near future, a third-party review, blue ribbon review, however you want to look at it. But what I want you to know, it's a systemic approach. It's the idea that we would go all the way up to the state level. We would look at the county level. We would look at mental health and how it's dealt with. We would look at counselors in training. We would look at all these different aspects and all these different areas and bring it down to an overall study of what we might be able to learn to make our district better, what we might be able to learn to make the whole educational process better, but more importantly, that the emotional, psychological, and the safety of our children at the end be better. Thank you for your time, and Jim Gibbons.
Good evening. My name is Jim Gibbons. I'm the Oxford Education Association president, the Teachers Union president. I'm also the director of bands at the high school. My wife is a teacher at the high school, and all three of my children are high school students. So I speak with you wearing multiple hats. I want to tell you that since November 30th, we have been focused completely and totally on helping our staff, our students, our families, our community grieve. Trying to show support, try to do everything that we can to give them the resources that they need to process the horrible tragedy that took place. And we're going to continue to press and continue to work to make sure that those resources and that support is available for as long as it needs to be available. We've also been focused on having a safe, successful opening where students feel emotionally safe and physically safe. I was in the buildings on Friday and again on Monday, and I can't tell you how much it helped for my own healing process and my own feeling of the recovery that we need to do to hear students in the building and to hear their voices and to see them run to their teachers' arms. And I heard from my staff that I represent how important that was for them. And I know that our high school teachers are needing and looking for the same thing. I know that the district has been fully cooperating with Oakland County Sheriff's Department, the Oakland County Prosecutor. I've seen that as we've moved through and have done the work that we're doing over the last 2 weeks. As a teachers union, we're also incredibly supportive of the third-party review, both to figure out and to review what happened in Oxford, but systemically throughout the state, so that no one in my position, a teacher, my colleagues, ever have to go through something like this in another school district or community. Thank you.
So with that, we'll take a few questions. If you wouldn't mind just,
Do you have a date? I'm sorry, go ahead.
if you just wouldn't mind identifying yourself and your media outlet first, so we keep it orderly, and then we'll take some questions.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Chambers with the Detroit News. Superintendent Fromm, can you address why Ethan Crumbley was released back into school by counselors and that a school police liaison officer wasn't consulted or an administrator found first to review that decision?
Thank you for your question. I think at this point, because it's an ongoing investigation, I would just refer you back to my statement this past Saturday. Nothing has changed from our perspective since then.
Next question. Yes.
Jason Colbert, local board. Do you have a specific date in mind yet of reopening the high school?
Good question. We met today up at the high school. Our initial goal was to try to open as close to January 3rd or 4th, that Monday after break. I don't think that we're going to be able to meet that self-imposed date that we gave ourselves initially. We have been working around the clock. I want to thank all of the vendors and the governor's office that has tried to open up some supply chains for us. Again, I would just go back to what we know based upon what we've heard is it's important that we get our kids back in our building as soon as possible. That is our goal. And we'll give you some updates along the way as we get more information on when that date might be.
Next question.
We have time for one more question. We do need to get over to the board room so that we can start that meeting.
David Jesse from the Detroit Free Press. Superintendent, you talked about the third-party review. What sort of timeline are you talking about? I know you're going to bring us to the board today, but if they agree to go ahead, what kind of timeline are you looking at, and how will that interact with the reviews going on the criminal side and then the civil litigation that has been filed against the district?
Yeah, so, good question. Tonight would be the first step in what I see as a very long process of initiating this third-party review. As I think somebody else said earlier, a third-party review or a blue ribbon type commission goes beyond just I'll say the criminal investigation side of this. I do not want the tragedy that happened here. We need to learn what happened here, not just how to react and provide safety to our students if such an event would occur. We need to do anything and everything we can to simply make sure this doesn't happen again. And so it's going to look at a whole bunch of different facets. I really can't give you a time frame because I haven't been through it before, but just looking at some of those that have been done in other districts, I mean, these are very inclusive reports, 700,000 page reports. And so I think that will be, I think it'll take months. So.
We have time for one last question, then we're heading to the board meeting.
Dave Center Fox, too. Do you know how many counselors you currently have on staff to deal with the students?
Go ahead.
So currently, if we're speaking of only our high school, we have 4 full-time counselors working with students. We have 2 family school liaisons who work with students, and we have a career counselor who works with students. Additionally, we have social workers and a school psychologist.
Do you expect to bring on more?
Absolutely. As we're going through this process, we're going to be looking at all of the resources available to us. We've already been working with Easter Seals and some other different organizations who have been offering us some additional support.
All right, set it forward time.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming.